Well, hello everybody, it's Monday night, it's fan zone, it is bank holiday, it's very hot out there, we're sweating cobs in here as we would say. I hope you all know what I mean by that. Sweating absolute cobs, I'm sure you do because you're all Leicester. Pule out, says Jamie McQuillan. Nathan says hi Phil. Mick Paget says good evening Phil. And Tom, hey, how do you know Tom's going to be on? Of course he is. Tom's waiting, sipping something cold by the looks of it in his garden. Which is very nice, and I'm hoping Jason is waiting in the wings as well. Loads and loads to talk about. Not sure how many people are going to be watching. If you've got any sense you're not watching this, you are sat out in your garden supping a cold beer or something. Just reading. Oh, Imtiaz is putting me right on. I've been putting it's 2030 GMT, and he tells me it should be BST, not GMT. Thank you, Imtiaz. I listen to what you tell me, and I take that on board. If that's the only thing you can be critical of, Imtiaz, we're not doing too bad. Here comes Tom. Tom, are you there?
Good evening, chaps. How are we?
Very good. Now, you're out in your garden, which is very nice indeed. And I'm going to bring Jason in very shortly. As ever, I can put people's comments on the screen. Mick says evening. Richard saying hi, Phil. Get your comments in. There's lots to talk about, isn't there, Tom? Let's bring Jason in as well. Here he comes. Another Foxes fan. Jason, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, guys. Yourselves?
We're very good, Jason. You're very quiet, so I don't know if you can ramp up your volume or speak a bit louder. That'd be brilliant.
Certainly, yeah, no worries.
That's better. So let's start with you, Tom. Saturday. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Over to you, Tom. Well, try and be positive, because last week, go on, you were Mr. Positive on Mr. Pule. Try and be positive now.
I got slaughtered last week for being positive about Mr. Pule, the special one, or whatever it's going to be known as. Look, I wasn't at the game, and I've now sat back at home, and I spent an hour and 45 minutes of my life watching it today to see how bad the performance was. And
oh God, Tom, honestly, I'm going to stop you there. If you've spent today, a sunny bank holiday, watching that drivel when you knew the score,
I wanted to see how bad it was. You know, someone who hadn't gone to the game. You know, you want my views. I'm going to be honest about it once I've seen the game. So I watched it back, and it wasn't the most entertaining of a football matches to have the first shot in the 86th minute. Look, as I said to you before we came on, Phil, there was a few things at the weekend. I do feel sorry for Pule in some ways still. You can't do much when you've got so many players out injured. It doesn't help his selection pick of the team. But then he doesn't help himself by playing Ben Aloan, who hasn't started a league game all season at right back. Made no sense to me, and I couldn't work out what he was playing at when he picked that team, and it was a strange decision. Look, we look like a team who's on the beach completely now, and a team that does not want to play for the manager. And it's very hard to defend the manager when any team does that, but it's also very hard to defend any of the players that they are playing against the manager again, like we've seen before. But if we're going back to the game itself, what are the talking points? A shot in 86 minutes to have our first shot on target. It's probably one of the worst we've seen in a long time at the club.
I mean, Tom, I don't know, just Tom, on that 86th minute shot, I don't know if it came across on the TV, but it was ironic because the crowd round us started to cheer and clap as though we'd scored a goal and we were going to win the league again. And it rippled around the whole King Power Stadium for about a minute. But it was just sarcastic. Well, we didn't know what else to do, 86 minutes, and we finally see one shot on target.
Yeah, it came across. It came across the noise did of the sarcastic applause and everything that we'd had our first shot. And do you know what? Fair play to the fans. I said it on Saturday, you know, to the performers, the fans pay the money. Even if the players don't want to play for the Pule, you still got to put it in for the fans. We turn up every week. We pay our season ticket money. People pay general ticket price money to go down. And that performance was unacceptable from all parties, as I'm concerned.
Jason, we'll come over to you next, get your opinions. I guess, what was your reaction to the match on Saturday, Jason?
You know, no surprises from Pule again. Just absolutely clueless tactically. You know, substitutes again. But we expected some sort of backlash. You know, after the 5-0 hammering the week before, you'd think that the players would you know, put in 100%. But it just wasn't there. It's just shocking. You know, I mean, you think it can't get any worse, and we're not having a shot at home until, you know, 4 minutes to go. Like, what's going on? Just
yeah, no. To an extent, Tom, I think I sort of appreciate what you're saying, and some of the fans have put some comments in here. That Puel's hands were tied a little bit on Saturday by the amount of injuries and suspensions and people we've loaned out. So I'm gonna pull it back a little bit, or take it higher up into the club and say, right, Puel's the manager, but to an extent, he's only had one half transfer window being January, or a whole transfer window, but it's not easy. And Diabate, the one signing he's made, looks pretty decent. Let's take this higher to whoever is in charge of the club running it. Because I've seen various names. Obviously, everybody says Rudkin out and this sort of thing, but I don't think we want to name anybody as yet, because we don't really know who's running it, do we? Tom's pulling some funny faces. But who loaned out all those players? Who's buying the players? Slimani and Musa is £46 million worth of Leicester City owned players who we've loaned out. Now, whether you think they're good or bad, that's some chronic management and business of a football club if we've got nearly 50 million in two players who are not at the club, Tom.
I mean, this doesn't go back to just Puel coming in and having the one transfer window. You know, like I said, January transfer window for me and nothing in this level, because you have to pay over the top price to get any player in mid-season. If you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, used to never sign a foreign player in January because he always knew it would take 6 months for them to bed in. So he never signed them. That's why he'd never signed players like mid-season in case they didn't bed in time. If you're going to look at who's in charge of it, the football director, there's a football director there for a reason. That's Rudkin, to go and sign players to get the deals over the line. He might not have a say on who we're signing, but he has a bit to say how much the cost of the signing is going to be. So he's got to take some responsibility. Then it comes down to the scouting network, and generally the managers before that agreeing the transfers for me. If you look at the Slimani deal, if you look at the Musa deal, that season we went to sign these Mendy, the season we went to sign players, we had the best opportunity to go and sign players who knew this league and buy them at decent prices. A little bit higher than we normally would because we had the money in the bank from the Premiership win. But we blew the opportunity because we went to sign foreign players from divisions that aren't as good as the Premier League, hoping they'd be able to do it. It's been proven they can't. You have to go and buy players who know this league. And I think on Saturday I saw two players I'd quite happily love Leicester to go and sign. And that was Arnautovic and Lanzini. Two players who I think are quality attacking players who know how to create things, and that could cause, we've got the money, let's go and offer these Premiership teams some better players.
I'll come to you in a minute, Jason. Just going to pull up a few fans' comments. Terry, hi Terry, thanks for watching. Says he had some foreign friends watch the match with him. They laughed when he told them that we were champions 2 years ago. Didn't believe me. Simon Richards saying Puel in. Nathan, hi Nathan, thanks for watching. Says this season has been a car crash, along with Shakespeare, who's a coach as a manager. The Silva transfer saga, again, we forget about that, was a joke, and now Puel taking us backwards. Well, that's interesting. Chris Ward saying Slimani and Musa have got to stay, which I wouldn't argue about that. Maybe we need to make them work. James Noisy Hall says, do you lot actually talk to us who write the comments? Yes, hi James, how are you? We do talk to you, but we also talk amongst ourselves on this show. Imtiaz says, Rudkin has become untouchable for some reason. We need to protest for Rudkin out because the owners won't listen otherwise. Jason, I think, coming back to you on the owners or higher-ups, I believe you run your own business, Jason.
Yes.
And, people who run their own business know at the end, the buck stops quite high up. And I'm not saying Puel isn't high up, but do we need to look a little bit deeper at this, Jason?
I think we're probably all agreed that the club needs a big shake-up, from top to bottom. It's not just players, it's not just the manager. A lot of the coaching staff have been there through 4 or 5 managers now. It just needs sorting out from scratch, basically. We've lost whatever momentum we had from winning the league. We all know we've blown that chance. We could have signed some decent players, like Tom said. Kicked on, and we've just messed that up completely. But we need to do better. I mean, we've had 3 shots in the last. Is it 3 or 4 shots in the last 3 games? So the passing game's not working. Whatever he's trying to bring in, Puel, it's just not coming off.
I mean, Lee Clark says something interesting here, which He says he thinks Rudkin's a massive issue, and it proves it when it came to the parade around the pitch. Stood in the tunnel quivering in his boots. I want to ask everybody who's watching this parade around the pitch. I was at the match on Saturday. Admittedly, I was outside the ground till quite late, helping Birch's bucket collecting thing, but I knew nothing about this lap of appreciation, lap of honour, whatever you want to call it. I knew nothing about that at all, so maybe it was in the programme. Can somebody tell me why I never heard it? Was it announced on the tannoy? But it seems a bit of a shambles, and it was very, very embarrassing to hear them laugh or joke, or Martin Keown on Match of the Day about it, and almost having a go at the Leicester fans. Well, I can speak for myself. I didn't even know there was one. I stayed in the ground, heard the final whistle. Tom, did you know anything about it?
No, I've not heard anything. Normally, they'd put something on. Well, normally we said earlier it's the last game of the season, so technically that's Arsenal at home. And there's still no reason why they couldn't have done it after the Arsenal game, because it's not an 8 o'clock kickoff. They could have done it then, but there was nothing on Twitter, there was nothing on Facebook page from the club saying about it. And normally they say when the lap's going to be from which game. So it was a bit strange that they didn't put anything. But also, do you know what? I don't blame the fans leaving if once they did find it out that it was going to happen. So.
No, I mean, Alex Green has put up here on screen, he says they did say at the beginning on the tannoy, which I must have missed it. But one tannoy announcement, there's tannoy announcements and music blaring out all over the place. So, Jason, does that sort of sum up a little bit of what was going on, maybe? The lack of appreciation.
Reason, isn't it? I mean, we've even seen the players not going around to the away fans at games, and applauding them. And it just seems to be a real breakdown, between the players and the fans. It's just, I don't know, there's a real divide at the minute. Whether they have got too much power, I don't know. But, yeah.
Well, Jason, you're saying that maybe, again, this is the other debate that seems to be raging, is have the players got too much power, Tom?
Well, something's definitely not right at the club at the moment, and I think Jason hit the nail on the head early, and it's just not to do with the playing squad, it's from top to bottom. There's something going on between the owners, Rudkin, the squad, because it just doesn't seem smooth like it was when we won the league. There was a togetherness, and at the moment I don't see any of that from the players, but with the fans it's just like, oh, we've lost, get off the pitch as quick as we can and let's move on again. And Jason, you run your own business, you say, mate?
Yes, yeah, just a computer business, yeah.
You got any free spaces for Rudkin?
No, definitely not, mate. No, can we just send him his P45 right now? Just
I mean, chaps, we've got the Arsenal game it's on Wednesday, and two nights will be, nearly finishing the game or halfway through at this stage. Arsenal absolutely demolished Burnley yesterday, 5-0, and it could have been more. Burnley are not shabby in the fact that they're, seventh. They're in that position we were all hoping we were. We're going to get on to score predictions a little bit before the end of the show, but Tom, it's going to be a tricky one, isn't it?
Oh, we're going to give another record away for the season, aren't we, on Wednesday night? Arsenal's not won a away league game in 2018, so Leicester will probably help them on the way there and to knock that one off before Wenger leaves in 2 games' time.
I mean, Jason, a lot of fans on Saturday were predicting a West Ham win, and I was quite defiant that wasn't going to happen, but ironically it did. I think fans are going to go again for every chance if we play like this, Arsenal are going to win.
Well, to be fair, I mean, West Ham still had something to play for, but even so, we never turned up. But I definitely don't feel optimistic about the Arsenal game. And then you've got Spurs away after that. So, it could be a cricket score at this rate, the way we're playing at the moment.
Yeah, and Spurs... Sorry, Jason, say that again.
Oh, Benny at right back as well. Doesn't help. But...
Well, yeah, Spurs will probably have something to play for on Sunday, won't they? Because with Chelsea winning against Liverpool on Sunday, yesterday, it keeps that 3rd, 4th Champions League spot vaguely open, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea have got a game in hand, I think, on Liverpool as well. So they win that, they'll go within a point or something silly. The table at the top's, really, really tight for that 3rd and 4th spot and 5th. So Tottenham got everything to play for. As one Chelsea fan put, it's time for Leicester to replay Chelsea the favour of helping them out with Tottenham. So it wouldn't have been nice to go to Tottenham and beat them on their own patch, meaning they didn't get the Champions League spot at the end of the season. But again, going back to Arsenal, we've got to get this out of the way. Hopefully they can put one good performance in. If it's not Arsenal, Tottenham, I think all the fans just want one good performance and 3 more points before the end of the season, just to show that they actually care what they're doing at the moment. Because from what I've seen the last 2, they don't really care, any of the players, by the looks of it.
You've been quite harsh there, Tom. Let me read out a few more comments. Get your comments in. If you can like and share this video, that would be really appreciated. Whether you're watching, we should have people watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope now that we're streaming on all those different platforms. I'm going to read out a few of the fans' comments, put them on there. Let me get on here with some comments. There was some from Thomas Hand says, Arsenal will smash us if we play like that and play like the way they did against Burnley. Alex Green, here's a question for anybody. When was the last time we actually scored a goal? Yeah, it's been a little while. Mick Paget saying Benny is a bomb scare. Michael Geddes is saying we are the worst team in the league at the present. And then he's predicting 1-5 Arsenal, which is a bit doom and gloom. I like this one from James. James Hall says, Rafa is the gaffer for us. I don't know whether he'll come, but flash your cash, he will come running. Everybody's saying Rafa. There's way more chance Rafa Benitez, if you ask me, will end up at Arsenal. And he might fancy the big club like that. Richard Wilson, here's one. I'm going to come to you, Jason, next on. What's the opinion of us all about David Wagner? I believe I'm saying his surname right there. Wagner from Huddersfield in the news today. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he seems to have done a decent job. I mean, for me, I would pull out all the stops to Rafa personally. It looks like Arsenal will probably go for Enrique or Allegri by the sounds of the way the bookmakers are going. But yeah, Wagner's done a decent job. I kind of put him in the same category as Silva, who've managed Watford and that kind of thing. You know, not really achieved anything massive. Is he better than what we've got? Possibly. But I think there's better options there. We just need to take our time and pick the right guy.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, I've said before, I think I said it on Saturday after the disappointing thing, we're top 19 world club, apparently, according to the stats and figures. Shouldn't we have a top 19 manager? And I'm not sure, no offence to Puel, I wouldn't probably class Puel in that category, and I wouldn't class Wagner in that category either. The fact that he's took a championship side, Huddersfield, and maybe kept them up, or probably should have done. I wouldn't call that the top 19 manager in the world because it's, you know, he's only finished, well, perhaps 16th in the Premier League. So, Tom, what are your thoughts? Rafa is a no-go, is it? He's not going to come. Or is he?
I mean, firstly, going back to Wagner, all credit to where he's at. He took a team who was second bottom of the league, about to get relegated, kept them in the league, built on that and got promoted in his first full season. So credit to him, and if he keeps it up, he's done a great job. Again, it was something different. He brought, Huddersfield brought in a manager to try and play football, and it worked. He got them out of that league. Would I want him at Leicester at the moment? No. Again, I'm with Jason. I think it's another Silva, and I didn't see enough from Silva when he was at Watford to convince me that he's a great manager. Rafa, yeah, you'd say if we're going to go and splash the cash, and you can get him, because by the sound of it, he still wants to sit down with Newcastle before he signs any contract to say, are you going to back me with the funds that I need to build this club? And I don't think he'll get them. He'll be on his way out of Newcastle. So it'd be an option. But after seeing what was reported today in the press conference from Puel, I don't see the club getting rid of him. I really don't.
Well, tell us more about that, Tom. What have you read today?
Just a few bits on Twitter, from the press conference with Puel himself, saying that, yes, he understands the frustration of the fans and, he can understand it, but it's going to take time. He needs a full pre-season under his belt, what he's expecting to get, and to judge him when it comes to the new season, basically.
Jason, I'm just going to pull somebody up here where James Harris says top 19 in the world. What toilet paper was that written on? I think, James, if I'm being honest, I think it's just a stat. I think it just so happens that financially, and taking all things into consideration, when they somebody takes the time to release that as a bit of information, don't they, chaps? And I'm correct when I say we're 19th in the world in footballing terms, aren't we, Jason? You've read that?
Yeah, that's the.
While you're on the toilet, according to James or whatever, but.
Well, I mean, what is that based on? Like, how much money the chairman's got? Or I don't know. But
I believe it's on where you've sort of finished in the league, but mostly, Tom, on income.
Yeah, it's normally on income and how much you've made the season before last and everything like that. So yeah, it is roughly we're the 19th richest club in the world at the moment.
Yeah,
that might change at the end of the season with the signing from last year and stuff like that. But as it stands, yeah, we are 19th richest in the world. And look, let's put it this way: the owners are going to back. Just before we move on, though, like I was saying to the boys in the chat rooms, like we chatted before, if we lose our next two games, there's a big possibility we could finish the season 14th in the league. Now, that would be a shocker if we end up all that way down the table after being 8th, pushing for 7th to finish 14th. If we were to lose the next two and results go against us, that would then make it look like a really poor season.
Yeah, let's read out a few more comments, and I'm probably gonna go on this one. Is Joe Wright says, surely some of the blame has to be on the players. Jason, do you think Puel's getting a rough ride when really we should be looking at the people who are out on the pitch?
Yes and no. I mean, it's probably a poison chalice in the sense that the players have done tools again. For probably the third or fourth time now.
Do you think they have? Do you think they have, Jason?
Yeah, without a doubt. But then again, your season mirrored exactly the same as what happened at Southampton. Second half of the season, they just fell apart. And the same things happened. But the question is, say the owners do have 100 million or whatever to revamp the team, would you trust him spending it? Probably not.
No, Tom, would you trust him?
It's a difficult one. I think it all depends where he goes. If he goes and signs players who we all know and we think are a good standard, like if he went out and brought the left back from Southampton, Bertram, and went and brought out the right back from Southampton, Cedric, players that know this league and we know why he's bringing them into the club because it's basically he wants to have attacking fullbacks. I actually don't mind him. If he goes and starts bringing in players like Hatton Ben Arthur and players who are at that age, 32, why do we need to go and buy a 32-year-old from PSG or even get him on a free? He's got a bad attitude. Then the question will start going, if he keeps going back to France to bring all these French players in that he knows from that league, it would make no sense to give him the money at all.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I sometimes, I don't know if I feel sorry for Demarai Gray. Again, we're down to the bare bones, and he still doesn't get much of a game. But Puel is going to pick Diabate, isn't he? Because he's his one and only signing, so sort of by default, he has to come in and play. A few people saying, what is Puel going to attract in the right players? Chris Ward's coming in here saying, should Leicester go for Arsene Wenger? Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? Richard Wilson saying, with Rudkin in charge, we've had 3 managers come and 3 go since, including Ranier was sacked. A few people talking of Nigel Pearson coming back, which I've got to be fair with you. I think I'm going to ask you two very, very briefly on Nigel Pearson. You would never rule that out, would you, Tom?
I don't want him back at my football club, first of all. I thank him for all he did and getting us promoted and saving us in the Premiership and helping us towards winning the title, because he did help us win it by some of the signs he made. Fuchs, Okazaki were his players he signed before he got sacked. But there's the other side to Nigel that we know that's embarrassing on this football club. Ostrich Gate, pinning players to the floor, backing players when something happened abroad in Thailand. I'm sorry, Nigel, you're doing a great job, and I wish the best of luck over in Belgium. Hopefully you can get that team into the top tier, but I don't want Nigel back at the football club again, no.
Jason, your views on Nigel Pearson?
I mean, the man's a legend, isn't he? But you can't go back a third time, surely. They probably do need pinning down in the dressing room by the sounds of it. But I think that boat sailed, hasn't it? And, it's time to move on. He's not done a lot since, has he? Since he left us, so...
No, and of course, the other rumour that was bouncing around the King Power on Saturday was Martin O'Neill was in the stands. Were you aware of that one, Tom?
I wasn't aware of that one, but again, I think his time is now international management. And if you look at since he left Leicester, he did all right at Villa until he got told he weren't allowed any money to go and buy players. He kept Sunderland just up each time he was there. He left and they got relegated. I don't think now he could cope with the pressure probably you'd have in the Premier League and the technical awareness, at this probably standard. And I think in the international football, he gets enough time to work out what he's going to do and sets his team up right.
We're going to move on to score predictions. If people would like to put in the comments below who they think the first scorer is going to be for Leicester. Well, for anybody. God, it doesn't have to be Leicester. It normally is. Normally we're predicting Vardy and a Leicester win, but you can predict who you like to score the first goal. You can predict the score you like. To be fair, a lot of you didn't. Nobody got it right at the weekend, but a lot of you were going for the West Ham to win, and they did get it right. I've got a stash of Peter's Pizzas that I'm going to give away later this week and into the close season. So don't worry, we've got piles of them ready to give away for all the results that have been going wrong. So I'm going to ask Jason and Tom their score predictions in a minute. Costa's going 3-0 to Arsenal. Sam Perkins is going 4-0. It's a bit doom and gloom, everybody. Alex Green saying, Chris Barker, what have you been smoking? I don't know what that comment's referring to, but I'll just put it on screen. That'll teach me not to read comments before I put them on screen. Costa's saying it's not only the manager, it's the players, which is fine. I think a lot of us are agreeing about that. Here's a good one. Chris Baker saying we should sell Mahrez, Ndidi, Casper and Maguire, get about 250 million and spend that on a new 100,000 capacity ground in Beaumont Leys. That is what somebody has said. What are you smoking? I've just found the comment. And now, let me show that comment, which says, Chris Baker, what have you been smoking? Yes, I would agree. I don't know. That's one of the craziest comments we've ever had. Sell all the players, build it, and they will come. It's like that film. I can't remember what's the film, chaps. I'm thinking of. Build it, and they will come. Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. Right. I've given you time to have a think, chaps. Luke saying 2-2 with Vardy to score. Martin Davis is saying 0-4. Tyron Morley, 3-2 to Leicester. I've got to be fair, I don't really care who scores first, but we just want to win. Tom, who's your prediction?
I'm going to go for a bit of a high-scoring draw. I'm going to go 3-3 from the old Glory 97 season.
What a game that was.
Let's hope we can pull it out of the bag in the last minute. Someone like Maguire, even Ben Alawan, a hero at the end to make it 3-3.
3-3, that was actually, I do remember that from Filbert Street days. I think I was in the Carling stand back then. And that was the one Bergkamp played well, didn't he? Scored a, was that the Bergkamp hat-trick?
Yeah.
But
and then Walsh
Steve Walsh.
Elliot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Walsh got two
Walsh,
at the end.
And Walsh and Ian Wright had a bust-up at the end of the match.
Yes.
Yeah. It was 3-3. That was a fantastic game. Oh, to see some drama and excitement a little bit anywhere like 1 minute of that match this Wednesday would be dear to most Leicester fans' hearts, because I think that's the trouble with the pull-out brigade, as we're going to start calling them now. There's just not much passion, energy, excitement. Jason, score predictions.
I would love to be as optimistic as you guys, but I'm going to have to go for a 2-0 Arsenal win. Sorry, but...
Right, that's the last time Jason ever comes on this show. No, I'm only joking. Mick Paget says, well, she scored twice in the last 3 minutes. He certainly did, and it was good. Jason Clare is saying 3-2 with Harry to score first from the corner. Rumour has it that Harry Maguire is going to be playing up front for Leicester on Wednesday. Ben Alawan is in goal. Kasper Schmeichel is right back. And Danny Simpson is probably running the bucket or selling burgers outside. Who knows? It's going to be interesting, isn't it, chaps?
I can't even call the team anymore.
Oh.
You can't call the team. You know, that weekend when I was sitting at the wedding and saw that line, it was like, what's Bill got this team from? Has he just picked it out of a bucket and hoped that it works? Because to see Ben Alawan on the team sheet was probably the shock of the season.
I think I'll push Benny forwards. I think he'll be in the number 10 role. Give him a chance, why not?
Ben Alawan, number 10. Casper on the wing. Who knows? Stephanie say put Puel in goal.
Rudkin.
He gets shot.
Matt Simpson is saying, I don't care what the score is as long as there's some passion and fight. Do you know what? I'm up with that. To be fair, on Wednesday, if we were to lose, but we've given it a go, I'd take that after what we've seen the last few games. The Southampton bore 0-0, the Crystal Palace diabolical 5-0, and then what we just saw with West Ham. I think a lot of fans are at that position now. Doesn't matter too much. Let's just see some absolute passion. Oh, it's plug time. Here's Jamie. I hope everybody watched Jamie from the Foxes Arms do our Foxes Aftermath show yesterday morning at 9:30 a.m. He says, come and watch the match at the Foxes Arms in our Cudia. It's like we're your advertising company, aren't we, Jamie? No, I'm only kidding. If I was there, I would come and watch it. And we are talking about going out there maybe for a little away trip. Would be nice to watch a match at the Foxes Arms soon. Lee Sutton saying Puel starting 11 is like letting my cat pick my starting 11 on FIFA. What, he just like paddling away on the joystick? We're harsh, aren't we? Anyway, it's time to say goodnight. We've rattled on too long. Thanks everybody who's been watching. If you can like and share the video, really appreciate that. Get your score predictions in. Tom, thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers, chaps. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And your Puel glass half full. It's not quite so half full, I'm guessing, this weekend. Jason, Mr. Doom and Gloom.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, guys. Yeah, hopefully next season, it's all good again when Puel's gone.
Let's hope Puel's gone. Oh, Jason gets. Did you notice that he got a dig in right at the end? When Puel's gone, we'll be all right. He says. Lee Sutton, see you lads. Yes, see you, Lee. Thanks for watching. Luke Hans, thanks for watching. Kevin Robinson, thank you for watching. Jamie saying let it happen live at the Foxes. We definitely should do that. So from me, Phil. Thank you, everybody who's watched, everybody who's commented. I can't read every single one out of them because there's literally been hundreds and hundreds of comments all over the place. My name's Phil. This is 100% LCFC. Whatever comes, rain or shine, we'll be watching the City. League One, Championship, Premier League, and you know where it might end up, but we'll be there. See you all soon. Thanks for watching.